Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong. I'm Dave.
And I'm Guy.
And today I've chosen the movie, and it is Talk to Me, Dicky, from 1992, directed by Alfred Cheung. I have quite a good little backstory for how I found this film.
Okay, all right, let's hear it.
Before we started doing this podcast, I had this idea for a different podcast. I think this was actually before I even met you.
Okay.
But I don't know how I even stumbled across this film. It was one of those kind of like Letterboxd or Hong Kong movie database deep dives. But I came across the title of this film, like Talk to Me, Dicky. And let me just read the blurb.
I've not read the verb yet.
So the blurb that I read for Talk to Me, Dicky: a policeman learns to talk to his penis, in brackets, which can talk to other men's penises, and his penis helps him investigate a rape case. And I read that plot synopsis, and I was just like, this can't be a real film. I was just so baffled by it. And that then gave me this idea for a podcast, which would be, I'd have like 2 guests on it, and I would describe a movie's plot and review it, and they had to guess whether it was a real movie or not a real movie.
Oh, okay, nice.
And this was one of the film. This is the film that kind of triggered that idea. Didn't end up making that show because I realized it would be a lot of work because I'd have to come up with fake films every now and then.
But that sounds quite familiar to something I heard. I can't remember what it was. It may have been a game show or something, and the game show host was asking the contenders questions like, which one of these movies is like a real movie or something. Right. And there was 2 made up ones. One of them was real.
Familiar, yeah.
And I remember one of the movies in this quiz show was Avocado Women of the Jungle whatever the fuck that movie's called,
which is
Cannibal
real.
Women of the Avocado Jungle of Death. And obviously the contestants are like, well, that's not a fucking real movie. It sounds quite similar to that. So I think you're onto something there.
I think it was this film, and then the other film that I watched where I'm like, this could also be a good contender was Petey Wheatstraw, which we've also done for this
What's the blurb for that?
I mean, I don't know what the blurb is, but just like the plot of that film, which involves the first scene is a woman giving birth to a fully, like a 10-year-old boy. Like, surely, it was more just like the film itself, not only like the blurb, but like, things that just seemed like they couldn't exist.
Thinking back, I can't remember what that film is about. It's just a montage of insane scenes and like him wibbling and wobbling around the room with his stick.
Oh, what a film. Amazing film. So let's get on to Talk to Me, Dicky, then. So
the title is very matter-of-fact, isn't it?
Very matter-of-fact. So yes, it's from 1992. It's from Hong Kong, of course. I can't really tell you that much about this film. It's distributed by Newport Entertainment, and I had a look at what else they'd put out, and they've made distributed a lot of great Cat 3 films, especially in the early 90s. Some of my favorites were there. Kind of cheaper sort of side of Cat 3. And it actually still exists as a company, as a theater chain now in Hong Kong. Yeah. Huh. So, I mean, like cinema theater.
Oh, right.
Not like they do like theatrical performance of Talk to Me, Dicky.
I'd go and see that.
I would see that. So, like a lot of Hong Kong films of this era, there's not a huge amount about this online. There's barely any reviews of this at all. It's hardly been logged by anyone on IMDb or Letterboxd. There's just not much about it.
It's
really
a shame, isn't it? Whenever we do like a Japanese film, we're able to dig quite deep and find out loads of cool information and maybe talk to the directors and this and that. But whenever it comes to like a Hong Kong Cat 3, we're just like, there's just nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing there. It's like no one was documenting anything.
Yeah, no one was documenting it, and it seems like people don't care that much as well. Like there's much more mega fans of like Japanese exploitation or genre kind of cinema, I think. And I feel like only recently, like with with certain companies releasing stuff like Cat 3s are getting sort of having a bit of a comeback now.
Yeah.
This is not even a Cat 3. This is a Cat 2.
This is?
Yeah,
okay.
This is a Cat 2. So it's a bit gross, but it doesn't
That's
go
barely
too
gross.
it doesn't go too far, really.
While on the subject of Cat 2s, there's different ranks within the Cat 2 genre, isn't there?
It's like A and B.
Right.
So Cat 2B is the bad one, right? I think that's like...
Is that you mean the good one?
The good one,
right.
yeah. Like the one that's like a bit, almost
more
like
raunchier.
a Cat 3, right? Yeah.
So Cat 2A is a bit more family friendly.
I think so. Maybe not family friendly, but a little less fucked up.
It's the equivalent of like a 12.
Yeah. This one, on the Hong Kong movie database, it just said Cat 2. So I don't know if they added the A and B later. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so there's barely anything about this film. So I decided instead to do what I often do when that's the case and just focus on the person behind the film, which I mentioned before is Alfred Cheung. His Chinese name is Cheung Kin Ting, which you sometimes see him credited as well.
He's a familiar face, isn't he?
A very familiar face. So he is the director, writer, producer, and star of Talk to Me, Dicky. So
wow, this is his passion project.
This is very much his film. Digging into his filmography, I found some pretty interesting stuff. Basically, the last 2 weeks, all I've watched are his films.
Right.
I went from having just seen Talk to Me, Dicky to seeing like maybe a third of his filmography.
Oh, wow. How many has he done, roughly?
I can't remember exactly, but I think I watched about 10 of his films.
Not bad.
He's not the most prolific. Like he's no Wong Jing, but
Who is?
Yeah. Wong Jing, he might come up a bit later as well.
Okay,
actually.
all right.
Okay, so let's talk about Alfred Cheung then. So yes, the writer, director, star of this film. He was born in 1955 in mainland China.
Oh.
Now his Wikipedia says otherwise, but I've watched quite a few interviews with him, and he does say in a few interviews that he was born in China. So I don't know why his Wikipedia says that, but yeah, born in mainland China, 1955. 10 years later, in 1965, his mother left her hometown in China, brought him along and his sibling in order to find better opportunities in Hong Kong. And at this time in the 60s, like Hong Kong was not really that well off financially. It wasn't the big, massive hub that I was about to say is now, but was. Yeah, before. Yeah, well, let's not get into that. So it was really tough for his family. He grew up very poor, grew up in a very poor neighborhood, and his mother made a living working as a bar girl and a housemaid. But luckily, because it was Hong Kong, there was social support available to him, and he was able to enter university as he grew up. And he, graduated in Chinese language and literature as his major, and then moved on to doing a diploma in film production after that. So like a lot of like Hong Kong industry guys, he has worked in many different fields. He's not only a director, and in fact, you probably would know him best as an actor, right? Like you said, you recognized his face, So he's a very familiar face in Hong Kong cinema. But he actually started his career as a writer in the early 80s, and then transitioned to a focus on directing in 1983. Yeah. So because of his background and like struggles that he had growing up, based on everything I've sort of watched of him, I think it really gave him a sense or like an interest in like social welfare and democracy and the plight of like poor people. I know I'm saying this where you've only seen Talk to Me, Dicky.
Well, I've seen other films of his, but
sure. But it just seems strange to be talking about this with a
heavy
film.
subject about talking penis films.
Well, it's going to get a bit heavier as well. So, because of this interest that he had because of his background, there was an event that had a huge impact on him, as it did on many people across Asia. And that was, and I bet you didn't think we were going to talk about this in today's episode, the Tiananmen Square Massacre.
Oh, fucking hell. All right.
1989. So while I was reading reviews of his films, I was like watching his stuff and like digging into reviews of it, I came across this reference to a documentary that he appears in, which is called Sunless Days from 1990. It's on YouTube. It's a really good documentary. It's about the Tiananmen Square massacre made a year after that, and it's focused on the fears of a post-Tiananmen Square world where people living in Hong Kong and Taiwan are kind of panicking and moving to Canada and stuff because they don't know what's going to happen after this incident. And I want to give a big credit to Jessica Cheung on Letterboxd in directing me towards this film. I think she's like a film professor in Hong Kong, but her reviews are like, just go follow her page. Like, her reviews are fucking
all right. Has she reviewed Talk to Me, Dicky?
She hasn't reviewed Talk to Me.
Okay, all right.
She reviewed some of his other ones, but yeah, she hasn't mentioned anything about this one.
I'll send her a message, be like, hey, you should check this out. It's fucking great.
It's great. I'll bring her up again later because there's something that I think you actually might have read something she's written without knowing it. But yeah, we'll come to that later.
Okay.
But anyway, so he's in this documentary and he's talking about Tiananmen Square. So before the massacre happened, he was really inspired by the student-led demonstrations that were happening and the unity of the people in Beijing. So Alfred Cheung, director of Talk to Me, Dicky, went over to Beijing to witness this unfolding, basically. Right before, like literally like a day before the violence started to really happen. But yeah, he was witnessing all of these protests and the excitement and the hope, and it kind of lifted him up, but he said there was this real, kind of frightening side to it as well. And when he left Beijing, all the soldiers started to come in as he was like heading back to the airport. And he said the cab driver was kind of getting riled up by seeing the soldiers, and he kept like swinging the car as if he was going to run them over. No. And Alfred Cheung's like, please just get me to the airport, please.
Do that in your own time.
So it sounded like a really scary experience. And then as he was dropped off at the airport, this taxi driver was like, tell the people of Hong Kong what's happening in China.
Wow.
And then, so that, I think it was that evening maybe, or the next evening, he got back to Hong Kong and was in a restaurant, and the news came on, and he started seeing footage of the massacre of the place that he was just in.
Fuck.
And at the restaurant, the chef at the restaurant started laughing at the footage and said, soldiers killing people, what fun. And Cheung just lost it because he was enraged by this, and kind of at the disconnect of people in Hong Kong from China, where they're sort of like othering these people that are getting killed. So he ran over, grabbed this chef who is really big, covered in tattoos, probably like a triad guy. So Alfred Cheung, not the biggest guy.
No, it's a little weedy fella, isn't he?
Little weedy, nerdy, bespeckled man. But he was like, oh shit, what have I done? But he's like, apologize right now, like didn't back down. And the guy eventually was like, okay, sorry. So yeah,
good,
pretty ballsy guy. Yeah. And I think that experience with the aftermath of Tiananmen Square, I think it really solidified his value and freedom and morality and all these kind of things. And in the documentary, it's like, it's quite weird to watch Talk to Me, Dicky, and then watch him breaking down in tears talking about Tiananmen Square. It's just like, what the fuck? Like, how is this the same guy? But it's just, he is a really intelligent, politically minded guy.
Now that you say that, I think from what I can bring to mind right now, all the films I've seen of his, they're all just really silly, comedic, fun, outgoing, really like slapstick type films.
Yes.
Not someone you'd expect to associate with a massacre.
But that's like the funny thing. So you're right, like his films are often pretty silly.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, these kind of feelings he has about politics and China, it's something that does appear in his work. That said, you wouldn't know that from Talk to Me, Dicky.
He didn't think to become like a politician or an activist or something. He decided to go down the movie route.
I think in his like outside of film, he is involved in like activism and raising money for things. But yeah, outside of Talk to Me, Dicky, a lot of his other films, you can see his political thoughts, right? So yeah, hidden away in these like comedy and genre films. You can see some of his like background and interest in this kind of fight for freedom, and also like Hong Kong and China relations as well. As a director, he's a bit of a mixed bag, to be honest. Okay. I loved some of his stuff and kind of hated some of his other stuff. So his debut film, it's called Monkey Business, and it's fucking shit. It's this cloying comedy, and it's almost unwatchable. It's only 90 minutes and it felt like 3 hours. But you do see in that he shoots some stuff around some very fucked up looking areas of Hong Kong. So I still feel that those scenes felt quite personal. I wonder if that was like places that he grew up. But as a film, oof,
no good.
Yeah, and it's very cheap and terrible. So after that, it's like just a very
cheap and terrible
film. But yeah, then he got work with the Shaw Brothers.
Oh, we know.
So his budget just blows up from his second film. So in '83, he made a film with the really, I don't know if this is a great title or a shit title. I'll let you see what you think. So it's a romantic comedy.
Okay.
It's called Let's Make Laugh.
I enjoy that. Let's make laugh. Fuck it up.
Do you know what was funny though? Like when I read the title, I'm like, oh god, it's just bad English. Yeah. But then when I said it aloud, I'm like, oh, okay. I missed the
Let's
one.
make laugh.
But yeah,
what's that about?
Oh, so it's pretty great. It's about this woman whose her husband has left her for another woman and left her with all these debts. And yeah, there's a government agent posted at her house to watch her to make sure she doesn't leave before they repossess the stuff. And then, yeah, of course, like romance ensues from that.
With the guard?
Yes.
But, he's watching her.
But it's genuinely like a very like sweet and funny kind of film. It kind of has, I don't know if you know Blake Edwards, the director. He's most famous for the Pink Panther films, but he made a lot of romantic films later in his career, and it kind of has that kind of vibe.
All right. And you're saying this is the Shaw Brothers movie?
Yeah, Shaw Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah,
I didn't know they made these kinds of films.
Yeah, and it's like a big, slick, like big budget film. Looks great, great cast, and this was a huge hit as well. I think it's maybe... Oh, no, it's his second best film. I was about to say it's his best film. I think it's the second best
film, right. Hearing that title, I'm always interested as to how puns get translated.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Yeah I don't know. Yeah, I did think that as well. Like, I wonder what the original... Like, is it a direct translation? But it can't be, right? Because it's...
wouldn't work like that.
It wouldn't work, yeah. But yeah, great film. I really recommend Let's Make Laugh. I had a great time watching
just laugh
that
whenever
one.
you say it.
So then after that, he did another Shaw Brothers film called Family Light Affair. This is from '84. Unfortunately, it's a pretty big step down.
Okay.
But, actually, though, you can really see how much it is connected to his life, because it's following this Chinese immigrant family coming to Hong Kong and just... having a fucking terrible time. So it's like clearly a very personal film, but it's just not funny. There's some jokes in it though that are like, you know, when you watch a Hong Kong film, you're like, oh mate, that is
a bit spicy.
So it's like a gentle family film. It's very like sappy, like that's why it's not so good. It's like it's very overly emotional and the jokes are kind of goofy, but there's one scene in it that... So the family, they have two daughters, and at one point they think that the youngest daughter has been killed, and they go to a hospital, and they see these like shoes sticking out of like a stretcher, like covered with a sheet, and they think it's her, and they run up to this body and start like hugging it. So like the sheet's still covered, and they're like hugging this body. And then another set of parents come up and they're like, what are you doing? That's our son. That's our son. And they're like, oh, it's not our daughter. And they just start laughing and then hand the corpse back to the parents. So
fucking
it's
hell.
kind of worth watching for those kind of moments. And there's a lot of jokes about like eating dogs in it. And there's a bit where they like eat someone's ashes, like human rights. So it's
man.
It's a Hong Kong film, yeah. But yeah, it's not a great film, but it is kind of interesting to see him trying to bring his story to life for the first time here.
With eating dogs and people's ashes. And...
Yeah. So yeah, he continues to make comedies for a while. He made one with a title that I cannot make sense of. A film from 1987 called To Err is Humane. You know, to err is human as a phrase, but I don't know. Is it a pun? I don't know. But anyway, that's from 1987, and he made Paper Marriage, which was quite a big one in 1988. And both of these star Sammo Hung.
Oh.
And were released by Golden Harvest. So he's moved from Shaw Brothers to Golden Harvest.
Oh, he's a big name.
And they're not directly connected with his politics, but both of these films, they're following someone searching for a better life. So it's still kind of like connected to what he's interested in. And Paper Marriage stars Maggie Cheung as well as Sammo Hung. And it's just, I love seeing her in her like early films, and she's a fucking delight. But yeah, that film is bonkers as well. Like this Paper Marriage film, it's kind of like another kind of goofy setup of like this couple that have to not a real couple. They're like a fake couple in order to get a green card kind of thing. But then it just like goes off the fucking rails in the final act and becomes a full-blown kung fu action film with absolutely insane stunts.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I guess Sammo Hung's in it. You gotta do that.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty interesting film. But then, okay, so he's made those comedies. Then, in 1988, he makes what a fucking amazing film that we might have maybe talked about before. Huh. So still with Golden Harvest, he makes a film starring Yuan Biao. Do you know who he is?
No.
Jackie Chan's best mate. He's in like a lot of Jackie Chan stuff.
Buddy. Right.
That's sort of how I know him.
Yes. Fuck.
He's in...
holy shit, hang on. Yeah, this is... With Sammo Hung, right?
Probably. He's in a lot of that sort of stuff. He's a martial arts stunt guy.
What was he in? Tell me the name.
Project A with Jackie Chan. That's like one of his big ones.
Didn't see it.
And he's in Mr. Vampire.
Yeah.
Spooky Encounters.
Yes.
Or was it Encounters of the Spooky Kind or whatever it is?
Once Upon a Time in China. Game of Death.
But he's great.
I like the description of Jackie Chan's mate. It's like, I know exactly what you're talking about. I had to do some translation work for that t-shirt company, Hardcore Chocolate. And they sent me loads of Sammo Hung stuff.
Nice.
And Yong Biao stuff to do, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is what I'm about.
I think my favorite thing that he's in is a film called Righting Wrongs. Have you seen that one?
No.
With beloved Cynthia Rothrock.
Okay, yeah.
It's fucking great. But yeah, he's a great, like, when you see him in a film, you're just like, this is going to be fun. Like, this is going to be excellent.
For a good time.
So yes, our mate Alfred Cheung makes On the Run in 1988 with Yun Biao, and it is a fucking great film. You will love it. You gotta see it.
And you're saying this is his best film?
I think it's his best. It's it's kind of like a grim crime action kind of thing. Very, very like late 80s vibes in it. And something very exciting about it. And this is why I think maybe we've mentioned it before on the podcast, but I didn't have time to go back and listen to the episode. It also stars Chan Chuk Yan. Now, don't look it up yet.
Okay.
Do you remember that name? Does that
Chan?
We talked about her a lot.
Yan. All right, hang on. Let me just rack my brains for Chan Chuk Yan.
Do you want me to give you one more clue? She's a child actor.
Oh wait, hang on. Don't tell me it's fucking Yan Yan.
Yes. Yan Yan from Fatal Termination.
Fuck.
So if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to that one. Maybe you might have mentioned On the Run, because I know you were talking about some other films that she's in. But famously, she gets hung out of her car in one of the most fucked up stunt I've ever seen. And on the Run, she has a pretty rough time in this one as well. So I guess
On the Run, is she also already an adult by this time?
No, she's a kid.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember she didn't really... She kind of just quit.
Yeah,
years later, right?
So this is 1988, so it's kind of around the same time, right?
Oh,
so
wow.
She's a kid in it, and has a terrible time in this film as well. Not quite as bad as Fatal Termination, but when I saw her, I'm like, this kid's very familiar. Looks her up, and then I think I immediately sent you a message where I didn't tell you about it, but I'm like, I found a really great connection to one of our previous films.
Fuck.
So
Chan Chuk Yan, that's holy shit. And also in Fatal Termination, Philip Ko.
Yeah, actually, quite a few Fatal Termination people show up in On the Run.
Everyone's connected.
Yeah, that's what Hong Kong films are like, right? Like every actor that you look up is in a billion other things that you've seen and is connected.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great. One other thing on Fatal Termination before we move on. So I mentioned that the letterboxer Jessica Yeung, who wrote some great reviews of Alfred Cheung's stuff, and I don't think she realized, but she really helped with my research for this. But I noticed on her letterbox page, she has done some work for Error. Is it Error 444? The company that released Fatal Termination, and she wrote parts of the booklet.
Oh, okay.
So perhaps you've read.
Oh yeah, I would have. Yeah.
But yeah, there you go. So it's a small world, huh?
Good stuff.
Well, anyway, you got to see that. You will love it.
I will definitely check
much.
that out. Yeah, need a bit more yang in my life.
So after On the Run, he makes one of his most interesting films. This is back to Alfred Cheung again. So this is the one I wonder if you've seen this. So in 1990, he makes a big hit, which is Her Fatal Ways.
No.
A film that has, I think, 3 sequels. There's maybe 4 of these all up. And this film is really interesting. So the setup is great. It's a buddy cop film about a female mainlander cop who comes to Hong Kong and has to team up with a Hong Kong cop.
Oh, it's like The Odd Couple.
It's great. So it's her and Alfred Cheung plays her mate who's also along for the ride.
So it's another buddy cop. He does so many buddy cop stuff.
But what I found interesting is like, this is before I learnt all the things about his past and the fact that he was born in mainland China. When I watched it, I'm like, this is not a typical Hong Kong representation of a mainlander, because often it's a bit, like you'll see the mainlander character and they're portrayed as an idiot, and it's kind of, is racist the right word? I don't know.
Like looked down on,
and there's
not painted in the prettiest picture.
Exactly. Whereas this is like not that. It's more. It's still very critical of the Chinese government, but it's also very pro a unity between Hong Kong and China. So
that's nice.
It was really nice, and it made me go like, this is quite interesting. Like his politics are very different from a lot of other Hong Kong filmmakers of this time.
Again,
but that film
very
is
personal.
Yeah, that film's great as well. So I really recommend that. I didn't watch any of the sequels. I heard they get a bit shit.
Okay. But did he also direct those?
He did, yeah. He starred and wrote and directed and produced all of the sequels. So that was the main stuff I watched. He continued to make a lot of films after that until fairly recently. I didn't really watch many of his later films. I did watch one called The Group, starring our boy, Anthony Wong. Actually, I shouldn't say starring. It's like special appearance from Anthony Wong. It was such a... This one's from 1998, so it's like kind of a little bit... Not later in his career, but post-prime.
Yeah, it's not exactly new, though, is it?
But God, it was such a reminder of how much I fucking love Anthony Wong. Because it's a small role, but he's just... Every scene, you're just like, oh, fuck,
he's a charismatic fella, isn't he?
He's so gross and sweaty, and it was in that stage where he got a bit fat as well. I love that era of
Fat Anthony Wong era.
Fat Wong. But yeah, he's Alfred Cheung's also starring in this, and he's basically playing himself. He's like playing a director, and again, it's like the plot is based around human rights and rebelling against authority and stuff. It's about a group of like friends that were friends from an orphanage, and they team up to do one good deed each year, and they're like trying to steal all this money to feed these African kids. It was
that was a bit convoluted,
very odd, but it's kind of like goofy, and it's basically a comedy. That was an interesting one. Not great, but kind of interesting.
What was Anthony Wong's role in that?
He wasn't
one of the African kids.
No. That's how Ebola syndrome started. No, he was one of the like the orphanage kids grown up that he was a gangster called Chiller.
Chiller.
Oh, yeah. No. And he just had sunglasses on the whole time, puffing on a cigarette load the whole way through the film. Yeah, outside of his directorial work, as we said, Alfred Cheung's done a lot of work as an actor. He also has made some pretty big stuff as a producer. He produced the film The Medallion, early 2000s Jackie Chan film. Okay. My memory of it is it's not very good. I didn't rewatch it for the pod. I'm guessing he must be mates with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung because he's in a lot of their films.
Yeah.
There's one more film, though, that I wanted to see so badly, but I could not find it anywhere.
Right.
And I found a VCD, but I couldn't order it in time. But how fucking good does this synopsis sound? Right. So, from 1998, there's a film that he made called The Extra. And this is the plot synopsis. Alfred Cheung stars as an unemployed film extra who considers employment in a bawdy Category 3 film to make ends meet. The truth is, he'd rather not participate in something so sordid, but with the Asian financial crisis casting a threatening shadow over 1998 Hong Kong, a guy has to do what's necessary just to survive, and if that means sacrificing a little pride, or even bearing some skin, then so be it.
Oh, sounds a bit raunchy. That sounds good. Kind of behind the scenes look at Cat 3 films. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
I really want to check that out. But there you go. That is a little overview of his work as a director. And I think I was wanting to watch these to kind of get a sense of how Talk to Me Dicky fits in. But it ultimately just left me more confused. So I'm like, what is this film? Yeah. It just doesn't fit into his career in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's a comedy, of course, but his early comedies are more gentle and silly. There's no kind of political stuff in this film. But he wrote, directed, produced, and starred in this film. So obviously it's a film that meant something to him.
Of all the themes to choose.
Yeah, so I can't explain
that is interesting
where this film came from. But yeah, interesting career from Alfred Cheung. Well, should we get into the film itself?
So Talk to Me Dicky, fucking hell, the opening of this though.
Yeah.
Just like downtown Hong Kong, lots of people walking around, but only showing their crotch area.
Yeah, it's all crotch shots, like guys scratching their dicks, and then female body parts wobbling about, and then more cuts to guys tugging at their willies.
And the most ridiculous music playing.
Oh, dude, the song over the top. What a way to start the film. It's almost like a rap.
It is. It's like, the verses are like Chinese rap. but then the chorus is like...
Unfortunately, there's no English subtitles to the song. There are Chinese subtitles later on, and I tried translating it, but it was just a shambles. But
it's got to be relevant.
I'm pretty sure it's talking about dicks, and that bit where it's like, like that translated to young man. So you can imagine it's definitely about dicks.
It is a dick song. Dick rap.
Yeah.
New genre.
So we get a great dick montage, dicks and butts, and it's shot like absolutely insanely. Like these shots, like almost like Evil Dead-esque, like shots zooming into crotches, flashes of neon signs everywhere. Very early 90s Hong Kong stuff.
It's a nice opening.
It's great.
I felt nostalgic for a place that I was never at.
Then we cut to an office. An office filled with ladies all typing away, and a woman gets up, walks out, goes to the bathroom, and as she's got the door open and she's pulling her undies down to do a wee.
What's that about? Hang on.
Yeah, why did she close it first?
So she goes to the bathroom, she goes into the stall, pulls down her pants, sits on the toilet, and it's filmed from outside the stall and quite far away. So there's just this overboard of her just sitting on the toilet with her pants down, and then she closes the door. Who does that?
I guess it was purely just to have the moment where she looks up and there's a sign that says cleaning in progress, and it's like wobbling a bit. So it's like, someone was in there. So I think it was more for the audience.
Right.
rather than any kind of logic, right? But yeah, then she closes the door, starts to do her wee, and then as she goes to wash her hands, a man attacks her. So we've had this silly, funky rap song talking probably about willies at the start. Then we just get a fucking rape scene.
Yeah.
With this guy attacking her. He tapes up her hands and mouth, rips off her clothes, starts raping her in the bathroom, in the cubicle.
And it's something very, like, funny, yet very cinematic and quite beautifully shot about this scene,
right? Sure, yeah.
Because she's getting raped in the stall, but on the floor, and her head is kind of like poking out from under the stall. She's kind of like grasping onto the bottom of the door as she's getting raped, and the way that she's like spread out across the floor, coming out from the bathroom stall whilst getting raped on the other side, and the way it's shot, it almost has a kind of like giallo feel to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of this that feels quite giallo, and the lighting is a little bit giallo as well. Something that's very silly in this, before we cut to that with her down on the ground, the rape begins with her on top, which is just made me think of a lot of Cat 3 films. They often, they're there to titillate, even though it's a rape scene. But it's so illogical as well. Like, it's just insane. So it's kind of a ridiculous scene. Even though it's a gross rape scene, it's not that offensive because it's kind of almost like cartoonish.
It is again with her head poking out from under the door. It does seem silly.
Yeah, it's like very theatrical and silly. Yeah,
that's why. So at that point, I was just like, oh, it was a rape. I didn't feel any griminess about it. But then she goes back to the office and she kind of sits back at her desk as if nothing's happened, and then we get this like really awful shot of blood dripping out from her, and then she like passes out. But at that point I was like, oh, like this again, like this insane tonal change.
This film is filled with insane tonal changes, isn't it? After this odd scene,
I gotta say that, what a fucking great opening.
Yes.
what an absolutely incredible opening.
We've had this song and then we've had this weird cartoon rape scene.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm like the opening, just close-ups of people's dicks getting scratched, then jump to this like kind of funny rape scene, but then this horrible like blood dripping down out of her skirt.
It's a roller coaster.
I don't know what to feel.
Yeah,
and then after that we meet our cops.
Yeah,
our main people.
This is like classic Hong Kong stuff, right? So we've got a sleazy looking cop. Kind of the chief, I guess he is. He comes in and he starts harassing this female cop who's in the evidence room. He's asking her to go on a date with him. Did you recognize this woman?
No.
This is pretty interesting. This is actually very fucking interesting. So her name is, and I could be wrong saying it, but Elaine Ong Yi Lee.
Okay.
So she's not in much stuff. She has a small role in one of my favorite Cat 3s, the film It's Now or Never. Have you seen that? But yeah, she's not in much stuff, but she is extremely famous for something else.
Right.
She was the winner of Miss Asia in 1990. But that's not what she's most famous for. So she had an affair with Jackie Chan.
What?
So her daughter is Jackie Chan's daughter. And he was not involved in her life at all. So this lady in this film has birthed a Chan child.
A Chan. She's birthed a Chan. Fuck. Does he pay child support?
I don't know. I hope so.
He should.
But there
He's
you go.
got enough. Fuck, no, I wouldn't recognise her. I wasn't watching Miss Asia in 1990.
Or like following like gossip news. Like, oh, what's Jackie Chan up to now?
But yeah, as you said, it's so classic Hong Kong Cat 3 bumbling cop idiot type stuff.
Yeah.
And it also kind of made me wonder what the average Hong Kong person thinks about cops. Because they're always portrayed as such idiots in film.
Yeah, you rarely see a competent cop, do you?
Yeah, they're always fucking idiots.
I will say...
Apart from maybe like A Better Tomorrow or something.
Yeah, sure, the more serious stuff, yeah. But I would say that the cops in this are goofy, But the main cop, you know, he's taken an interesting approach to solving a crime, and he does solve it. So there you go. He's a little bit
spoiler alert! Fucking hell.
But yeah, so while this harassment is happening, so the chief's harassing Elaine, I'll just call her Elaine for the ease of getting through this, and two other cops are watching this unfold. One is, of course, Alfred Cheung, the director, and he's playing Officer Wu, and the other is Michael Chan playing Officer Shu.
So we've got Wu and
Shu. But you know what? For our own sanity, can we call them Alfred and Michael?
Alfred and Michael.
So Alfred Cheung, we've already talked about him a little bit, but for a quick description of him, how would you describe how he looks?
Alfred
Cheung. So he's the director of the film, the star as well.
He's a very small, weedy little man, a bit mousy, small in stature, glasses.
Not a heroic looking hunk type. No. Right? Yeah. So yeah, I think that sums him up quite nicely. So he's our main cop, and then his mate, Michael. Now, Michael Chan, this is a face that I'm sure you recognized. Yeah. So he's a martial artist, an actor. Again, he's in Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's coming up a lot today. He's in Jackie Chan movies. He's in Shaw Brothers films. He's in Royal Warriors. I fucking love that film. And fun fact about Michael Chan. So he often plays triad members. Okay. And he was, in fact, a triad member earlier in his life. And I don't know if this is true, but he has claimed that he was the number 2 in one of the biggest triad groups in Hong Kong.
What?
The 14K triad, which is apparently an extremely infamous triad group.
What?
Yeah. So this silly man in this Talk to Me Dicky film has probably killed some cunts.
That's quite funny.
And
because he is very silly in this.
Yeah, he is fucking ridiculous.
He's very endearing as well. Yeah. Like, he's almost just like a little schoolboy.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun in this. So we've got Alfred and Michael. They continue to watch this gross chief cop hitting on Elaine. As she leaves the evidence room, she knocks him out, the chief. Like the door hits into him and it smashes him down. And he sort of wakes up all kind of beaten up. And he starts ranting, this is the chief, about how they need to get the wolf, this rapist that's going around attacking women. And he makes Alfred, our hero, the team leader.
Underdog hero.
The underdog hero. He gives him a 3-day deadline to catch this rapist.
That's a very short deadline to catch a fucking rapist.
Yeah, come on, mate. That's a rough
even
deadline.
the analysing, the swabs and stuff, that's going to take some time.
And also, what happens after 3 days?
Yeah, what's
so
the countdown?
Just can't get him.
Just throw in a deadline.
Move on.
Builds tension.
Yeah.
But they don't actually really pay much attention to their deadline. Yeah. It's not 2 days until the deadline.
That's true. It's never really brought up again, is it?
I forgot it even happened.
But yeah, then the rape victim that we saw earlier in the film, she's getting interviewed by the police, and they're showing her pictures of possible suspects. She's just silent. Elaine is asking about the size of his dick, and then Michael comes in, the goofy cop, and he's like, is it strong or weak? Long or short? It's so grim. But the woman...
Can you imagine asking a fucking rape victim, can you describe the penis? Was it
a strong penis? Oh my god, it's horrible.
This is supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah,
it's pretty
tonally odd.
But she remembers one thing, and one thing
very interesting thing. Yeah, what does she remember?
There were 2 people talking.
2 people talking with the same voice.
What's that about?
Alfred is baffled by this. So then we cut to probably the same office that we saw earlier, we think. And another office lady is leaving the office. Someone jumps out and attacks her, pushes her up against the wall, starts kissing her. He pulls up her skirt. We're like, oh my god, she's going to get raped. It's happening again. But then we realize that this is just some rotten cunt.
It's not a rape.
Co-worker. So he's a married guy.
It's a fuck.
It's just a fuck.
It's a fuck.
And he's like this gross married guy who she's having an affair with. And he's like, I'll wait downstairs for you. then we cut to like a tape recorder.
Yeah, can you explain that? Because it's just in the corner of the room.
Yeah, here's my... can't give you a strict answer, but I think from watching this a few times, I think that the rapist records his attacks and like records things and sends it to the police. But it's never said explicitly.
Yeah.
And then there's another scene later on which makes that kind of confusing. The other idea that I had was maybe the police have set up tape recorders.
That's what I was thinking, but it doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, I feel like the police were just like placing tape recorders because they bring the guy in questioning him, right? So they would have found out it was him probably through that tape recorder.
Yeah.
So that was my guess, but...
There's also a reference later on to the rapist sending recordings, though. So that's why I was like, maybe he's recording it. But yeah, no, I was also kind of baffled. I don't have the answer. So, but it's one or the other, right?
It's one or the other.
Either way, it's getting recorded. We hear someone off screen saying...
She'll pay for her promiscuity.
Yeah, then we cut into the bathroom.
And then... The real rape happens. It was a fake out rape.
Yeah.
So we're expecting her to go and meet her fella, but she gets bombarded by someone. Again, is she in the bathroom?
Yeah, she's in the bathroom again.
She gets dragged into the store.
Her pants fly across the room.
Again, this is quite a comedic shot.
Yeah, it's quite absurd.
Because, and again, it had a very Jarlic feel to it.
Yeah, Jarlic.
I'm coining that. Yeah.
Jarlic. It was very Jarlic. Definitely.
And because like she gets dragged into the bathroom stall, but we're not focusing on her, we're focusing on just the floor, the tile floor.
Yeah.
And then from off screen, her pants just sweep across the floor, and then the camera like zooms into her pants, and we get this da 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 da.
It's a shot that would make Dario Argento proud. He'd be like, "Oh, why didn't I think? Wait, why is he Dracula?"
I thought that was Mario.
Hey. Wait, what's my bad Italian voice? Pizza pasta. Hey, why didn't I think of this shot?
Oh man.
Oh dear. So
let's move it swiftly on.
So the panties have slid across the floor
in great Jarlic
fashion. And then we cut to that scumbag married guy who's getting interrogated by the police. They play him that tape that has that line that we said before. And he's like, "Oh, come on, why would I rape her? She's my girlfriend." Then he starts talking about rape and says that rape gives a special experience. He's not really doing a good job in selling his innocence here, but he's like, yeah, I do rape roleplay with my girlfriend, and like, it's a special kind of experience. And then he just goes off on one.
Talk about all the different places he had sex in.
He wants to fuck someone in space. Yeah. He's like, I want to fuck someone in space. And they're like, all right, man. Okay.
He's like, I did it on the train. I did it on the bus. And then the next, Alfred, doesn't he say the best fucking line? He's like, hey, if there's an encyclopedia for sex, I suggest you be the editor.
Yeah, which is kind of a compliment, isn't it?
Right?
This guy, he's probably loving this.
But not the writer, the editor.
Yeah. That is quite funny. And then Alfred says they need to get a semen sample from him. And this I enjoyed a lot because Michael says after this, by hand or machine? And this made me think of... Do you know about the wank machines in China?
Yeah.
So this cracked me up so much. So I'd already knew about this, but I'm like, I want to get some more info about this. Oh. So after the scene, I Googled sperm bank wank machines in China, which I'm really regretting having in my search history. And do you want to hear about these
Definitely,
wank machines?
Yeah.
So Jiangsu Sanwei Medical Science and Technology Company invented the sperm extractor.
Extractor just makes it seem very invasive.
Yes, like going right in. It has the capability to stimulate a vaginal environment.
A vaginal environment? Okay. Wait, it can stimulate the vaginal environment.
No.
It has simulate, right?
Simulate. Yeah, did I say stimulate?
I think you said stimulate.
Oh, I meant simulate a vaginal environment, not stimulate. What's going on? This is a baffling machine. It can trigger ejaculation through massage, sucking, and vibration.
Jesus.
And this is the best line.
Right.
The Chinese government said it could... The Chinese government said it could be the solution to their semen supply shortage. I love the idea. Xi Jinping's like, we need more cum. We're lacking cum. And we know our cum supplies are running low.
How are they so short on cum? Their fucking population's massive.
Yeah, and they've got a problem with having way too many dudes, right?
Yeah, what's that about?
Yeah, come on, mate. You've got plenty of cum.
Why are they putting so much focus onto cum extractors? They should be doing the opposite. Like, calm down here, China. Chill out with the coming.
Stop extracting cum in a simulated vaginal environment. I know you got a semen supply shortage, but come on. Gotta send some of that cum over here to Japan. We've got a real semen supply shortage here.
I know, I'm trying my best, but I'm only one man.
You're filling vats with cum and it's not enough.
I know. I'm wasting away. So then, like, don't we cut to rape victim number 3?
Yes.
A third woman at home already in a very short time span.
And again, it's like very Jarlic.
Jarlic.
We're in this blue lit room, a woman taking her stockings off. Now, this actress, did you recognize her?
No.
Oh, we've talked about her before
Have we?
on the podcast. So this is a Taiwanese actress by the name of Ka Ling. And I know her from a lot of like very cheap and shitty Cat 3 films, including Suburb Murder. She is the prostitute mum from Suburb Murder, Suburb Murder, which we talked about, I don't know, ages ago. I can't remember what episode that was, but do you remember the main character of that film? His mates shag his mum. That's her.
Oh, no.
So when I saw her, I'm like, she's very familiar. Looked her up and I'm like, oh shit, Suburb Murder.
What's her name?
Ka Ling.
Ka Ling.
Yeah, she's pretty much kind of exclusively in dodgy early 90s Cat 3 films, like particularly cheap and shitty ones. Yeah.
She's not on the letterbox of this, though, is she?
I think there's quite a few people missed
out.
That.
Yeah. Fuck.
But there you go.
There you go.
Another connection.
Jesus
that is what
Christ.
Hong Kong is like. Everything's connected.
That's what it's all about.
So she's, rape victim number 3, as you said. But as she is starting to get raped, he busts in, starts raping her. But immediately, she is into it and loving it and kind of turns the tables and basically starts kind of raping him.
She says, you don't need to rape me. I need a man.
Yeah.
And starts straddling him, starts riding him, but that's a deal breaker for him.
He's not into that. And he ends up like beating her up.
Oh, wait. She says the greatest line here.
Which one was
So basically, she's turned the tables. She's just down for a fuck, but I guess he's only about the rape, so just sex is not exciting enough for him. So I guess he loses his mojo, and she delivers the most brutal of lines. She says, "You're useless. You're not qualified to be a rapist." As if there's a fucking qualification.
Wow.
But then he snaps. He just starts beating her down.
We cut to her all kind of bruised and battered, and our cop heroes are interviewing her, and she says, please don't take this as a rape, or as they always say in Hong Kong films, a raping case.
Is that it?
Yeah. I think there's a Cat 3 just called Raping Case.
Love it.
But yeah, so she's like, no, it wasn't rape, but it's assault, because I didn't want to be beaten up. And then, like, it's quite grim, this scene, because then she's like, look what he did, and she exposes her boobs, and they're all, like, bruised up. And I'm like, this is a bit bleak.
Yeah.
No one's wanking to this, surely.
Well, no.
They've all got the wank machines. They don't need to watch this. It simulates a vaginal environment, I'm telling you. But then she drops a real clue for them. So she says where she works, and they realize that it's the same building where the first two victims worked as well. So there you go.
So
there's
apparently there's been 4 cases this month.
Yeah. So there's stuff that we've not seen beyond, like these 3 characters that we've met. So then that's right. We go back to the cop station and Elaine, the Jackie Chan's mistress gives my notes, I was meant to write breakdown, but I wrote she gives a rape down. Just had just so much rape in this film, I had to write that. But yeah, she gives a breakdown of the case. As you said, there's 4 rapes or raping cases. But yeah, they all took place in the same building, and 6 other cases also took place elsewhere, but they are in some way connected to people that work in that building. So there's a lot of assault and rape happening, all connected to this building.
So this is where we get the finest piece of Hong Kong Cat 3 logic ever. So, given the circumstances, the logical approach would be to gather the male workers in the building, anyone who has keys or security passes to the building, interview them one by one, see where they were at the times and days of these rape cases.
Okay, that's a pretty good idea. You should be a cop.
I know. But no, what do? They decide to hire a convicted rapist to help with their investigation.
I love the reasoning behind this. So Michael, the really extra goofy cop, he starts doing this like up and down, like he's like jumping up and down. He's like, you need a certain kind of spirit to rape. and then he's like, they start discussing this theory of like, maybe it's a revenge rapist. So a husband whose wife had an affair, so he rapes the other man's wife. They sort of come up with this theory. And then Michael goes off on this other like train of thought where he's talking about different kinds of perverts. He's just like listing off different perverts. And then he's like, oh, this bit made me laugh so hard. There was an ass-squeezing criminal. That's in the subtitles. And there's an ass-squeezing criminal, and they caught him by talking to another ass-squeezing criminal in prison. So that's where this like mad idea
They have like a community
comes from, where they have to go. It's like a real like Silence of the Lambs situation, which is exactly what the next sequence is. A parody of Hannibal Lecter.
I mean, this is mad,
It's fucking bonkers. So yeah, they go to a prison with this crazy idea to interview a rapist, and they're going to see this psychiatric patient rapist called Yao Man, who has apparently raped up to 200 people, but they couldn't prove like all the rapes. But yeah, that's what he's possibly done. They also said that this guy persuaded all his cellmates to either kill themselves or masturbate until they got pneumonia and died.
Pneumonia and died.
And then apparently his victims, the rape victims, they come by to see him all the time and have some kind of connection to him.
Yeah.
So they go to his cell, and this is where we get the full Silence of the Lambs parody. So it's extremely over the top. This like dark blue cell with like light on this like single chair. And, like, you can't see him. You're like, oh, what's going on? And then he jumps out in... Like, this is where I got confused. Is he in front of the bars when he jumps out?
That's it. Like, he jumps in front of the camera, but he's just in an open box. Like, it's just a room with nothing in it. Where he was supposed to be hiding.
Very confusing. Totally baffling. But yeah, this character is played by Santak Khan.
Okay.
And yeah, he's another like Cat 3 regular as well. So you might have seen some of the things that he was in. So Alfred and Michael are in there to interview him, but then he starts like sniffing the air, this serial rapist. And he says, there's someone else hidden away in here, a woman.
Oh, yeah.
And Elaine comes out, and he's like, oh, I knew you were here because your period's coming today.
Yeah. Oh, and then, I can't remember, is it Michael? Michael, he's like, oh, that's why she refused green bean sweet soup today. wait, what?
Is that a thing when you got your period?
I don't fucking know. Wait, right in, ladies. If you're on the period, you don't drink the green bean sweet soup.
Savory soup, no problem. Green bean savory soup, the sweet soup.
Green bean sweet soup.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
I really didn't get the connection.
I was
then.
very confused, but I did laugh at it. But yeah, they offer to allow him an earlier release if he helps them catch this rapist and give his opinion. And he sort of scoffs at this, but he's like, oh, I'll look at the case information anyway. He very dramatically looks through the files and listens to the tape. And he says that he'll help on the condition that they let him out to see the lights in the big city. They just let him out for a little bit. Alfred has to go and make a deal with that pervert chief that we met earlier to allow him out to help. So then he's out. They're in a van together, a police van. And he's got so this Yao Man rapist has a fake beard and a wig on. He's in disguise. They've secretly let him out.
Really did not understand this.
First time I was kind of confused. Wait, hang on. Who's this?
I didn't know it was supposed to be him.
Yeah.
Is it actually him?
It is him. Yeah.
Why did they put a beard and a wig on him?
I guess because he's probably quite a famous criminal and they've let him out secretly for this one day, right?
But they don't mention that at all.
Yeah, it's yeah.
We just cut to a guy with a long beard and hair sitting on a bus.
Who's this? Yeah. Yeah, first time I was really confused. But yeah, he kind of immediately is able to undo his handcuffs and, escapes from the van and runs over to this shopping mall. So immediately, this rapist that they've made this fucking pact with is on the fucking loose. A guy that's apparently raped 200 people. So he goes to the shopping mall, goes to a store, and asks the clerk at the store for someone called Mr. Lamb. And there's no context for this, so it's really confusing. And she's like, oh, he's in the bathroom. So cut to the bathroom. Mr. Lamb, whoever the fuck that is the Yao Man, the rapist, comes in and beats the shit out of him. Quite gorily, smashes him to bits, and then leaves. Then we cut, even more confusingly, to a woman who's screaming and looking for her daughter in the shopping mall. And the cops all run in and they're like, oh my God, Yao Man, he's got this kid, is the assumption that they've made. And they run around trying to find this kid. And then they find Yao Man hand in hand with this little girl. But he gently hands over his gun and turns himself in. He's like, oh, it's all right. I did what I had to do. I just had to smash up Mr. Lamb.
But do you know, I know there was some discussion about it, but I still didn't get it.
So after, I don't quite get it, but here's what I basically understand from it. So we're back to his prison cell. He's he's locked up again. He's walking around all chained up, and he's talking about why he did this to this guy, Mr. Lamb. From what I could understand, Mr. Lamb's wife was Yao Man, the rapist's classmate in high school. After Yao Man was arrested, Mr. Lamb claimed that his wife was having an affair with the rapist guy, Yao Man, to kind of humiliate her and be able to treat her horribly and abuse her every night for some reason, to sort of shame her. Don't know why he did that, but he did, that Mr. Lamb guy. And she ended up committing suicide because of this. And he wanted to get his revenge. And apparently he's blinded and crippled, this Mr. Lamb guy. Oh, no. So yeah, it was a completely pointless scene. It's kind of a shame. I feel like you could cut that whole scene out and it would be a quicker, funner movie in a lot of ways. But anyway,
it was very pointless.
That happened. So then we go back to talking about the rapist again.
And he's back in jail, back where we were 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, so it's straight back to what it was before. And Yao Man starts discussing his thoughts on this rapist. So he says that the rapist loves talking to himself and that the rapist has learnt his secret. The rapist was talking to his little brother. So this is what he says to the cops. And at first they're confused and they're like, wait, what do you mean? Little brother? He doesn't have a brother. And they're like, no, how do you know he's got a brother? And he's like, no. He's been talking to his penis. So this rapist guy has claimed that this other rapist that's on the loose is just having a chat with his dick all the time. And Alfred and Michael find this hilarious. And they're laughing and laughing. But then Yao Man suddenly goes really serious. And he's like, can you hear ants talking? And that just like shuts them up immediately.
And you get this like really serious music playing. Love it.
Yeah, and he's like explaining all these like weird things about animals and like communication.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was great.
I love it. He goes, human beings think they're smart, but they can't compete with animals. And then I'm listening to him talk, and he's just like, he says like, your eyes, they're not good. They're not as good as owl's eyes, right? And I'm just like, yeah, that's true. And he goes, your nose, not as good as a dog's nose.
True.
I'm like, well, that's true. Yeah. And then he says, people, they're not as fast as zebras. And I'm like, wait, what?
That's an interesting choice.
Why zebras? They're a lot faster animals than zebras. Why did you choose that to be your level?
And also, like, how is this connect to talking to dicks? I don't know. It's just like this weird...
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Weird animal rant that he goes on.
It's an animal instinct.
But God, I just love that initial comment where like they're laughing. He's like, "Can you hear ants talking?" Just like I was crying with laughter. But yeah, he tells them that all men's dicks can communicate with each other. So his dick has talked to other dicks. So his dick was talking to these husbands' dicks. And the dicks were like, oh, this husband's been treating this woman badly. So that's how he targeted his victims. And apparently they appreciated him raping them, and that's why they go to visit him. I think
that's madness.
It's very confusing stuff.
But then doesn't he say that his organ, as he calls it, is partially injured and now is deaf?
Oh yeah, it's been injured and is partially deaf.
He's deaf. His diff. It's his diff. His dick is deaf.
His dick is deaf. Yeah,
so he can only talk to it a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. He's he can talk a bit. But yeah, he's like grabbing his dick. Yeah. And starts like whispering to it. We don't hear what he's saying. But he's like,
he knows secrets about the cops because he can talk to the cops' penises, right?
Oh, some of the secrets are very funny.
One of the best ones. He talks about Michael.
Yeah, this is my favorite.
And what does he say? He says, "My dick told me that Michael hasn't had sex in a year and drinks 3 penises wine every night." What the fuck is a penis wine? I love that they pluralize penis. 3 penises wine every night.
It reminds me of a bar that we've talked about on this podcast before, Far Played.
Oh yeah.
I once had, so they like serve a lot of penis themed drinks.
Yeah.
And they had like a penis, some kind of penis wine thing. Maybe not wine, but like penis liqueur.
Okay. Penis liqueur. That sounds bad. How do they extract
it was
that?
Like served in a little Dicky. Like a little dick thing, and I was drinking it. And then I read
that
just because I thought it'd be funny. Okay. But then I read the description, and it was like fucking like some tortoise extract.
Oh yeah, fuck.
So maybe that's what a penis wine is. Like to strengthen your Dicky.
It's the tortoise extract. Japanese is suppon. It's it's long neck soft shell tortoise, and it's an aphrodisiac.
Are those tortoises that look like uncircumcised dicks? God, those cunts freak me out.
So if you go past some restaurants or in Chisakai, they have these little like tanks, and you can see the little tortoises outside, and you can go and drink their blood and stuff and eat them. And apparently, it's good for the
helps Dicky
penis.
There you go.
So he's having 3 penises wines
extracted from a tortoise.
Yeah, fuck. So you have one of them. How was that?
I felt a bit sick after I had it because I was like, I'm drinking fucking tortoise jizz or whatever it was. But yeah, he says that to
I wonder if the tortoise went into the Chinese cum extractor. just the head going
into the simulated vaginal environment. Tortoise.
He's like, where am I?
Oh, fuck it up.
But I love it, like the cops are kind of sticking up for each other. So the criminal is like, he hasn't had sex in a year, and Alfred's like, no, he has sex all the time, right? Right? And then the other one, he says to Alfred, he's like, well, you haven't bathed for 3 days. He's like, no, he bathes every night, right? Alfred's like, well, I've been busy. So he knows all their secrets because their dicks can talk to each other.
And he also shares his theory. Well, it's not even a theory. I think he's just like, he's convinced that this is the real deal. So the rapist Yao Mao, he says that they need to learn to talk to their dicks to arrest the rapist because fucking hell, this is so convoluted. So they need to learn to talk to their dicks so their dicks can speak to other dicks in the building where all the rapes can happen, so they can find a bitch. I think they meant to say slut in this stuff, but they keep saying bitch. So they need to find a bitch or slut that the husband or boyfriend of this bitch will be the rapist. And I'm sorry for saying bitch a lot, but that's what the subtitles say.
Yeah.
So they because of these secrets that he's revealed, they believe him. And they're like, well, how do you talk to your Dicky? We need to know. And he says, you need to be sincere and concentrate. Choose a night with a full moon. Place 3 roses facing the wane. I don't know what a wane is.
I actually looked this up.
Oh, did you? Thank you. But yeah, can you tell me?
Apparently, a group of 7 bright stars in the constellation Ursa Major, also known as the Big Dipper. That's why they're facing up.
There you go. Okay.
And also, rule number 3, lower your head.
That's right, yeah. Then we cut to what I think is the funniest scene in the film. I was cracking up something fierce in this scene. So after this explanation of talking to Dicky's, hard cut to a kid reading porn. He's just got a porn mag. We don't know who this kid is. First time we've seen him. He hears the door open and he runs into the cupboard in the room hiding. Then Alfred comes in with roses that he's gonna, what was it, set him towards the face, the wane. Yeah, he put some kind of electrocution device on his head. That wasn't mentioned by the rapist, but anyway,
that's just for him.
And he just had to add that. And he tries to sincerely talk to his Dicky, but almost immediately he starts getting really angry and frustrated. So keep in mind, the kid is in the cupboard the whole time he's listening to this. So he's threatening to punish his dick.
Oh, I think the first part for me, the first line said was the funniest for me because he looks down and goes, Dicky, Dicky. And then we just cut to the kid just looking terrified as he's hiding in the closet. But yeah, as you said, then he gets a bit more threatening.
Yeah. He's threatening to cut the skin off. He says, I'm going to cut your skin off. I'm like, what the fuck? I think he's also he's referring to his dick sometimes as little brother as well. So we realize this kid is obviously his little brother. Right?
Yeah.
And then after he's talking about punishing his Dicky and getting all mad at his dick, the little kid, the brother in the cupboard replies, he's like, brother. And Alfred, not knowing that this kid is in the cupboard, thinks that his Dicky, his other little brother, is talking to him. Yes, starts having this conversation with what he thinks is his dick, but is actually his brother in the cupboard. Some of the exchanges here are just so funny. The kid is like, I promise to talk, but please don't touch me. But my favorite thing is Alfred asks, I gotta ask you, Dicky, when I piss, how does it feel? And then the kid's freaking out, and the subtitles say, do you want to pour me with urine? And then eventually
so we said, how does it feel? The kid thought the big brother was going to piss on him?
Maybe?
Right,
yeah.
Is that what it was? Fuck.
Oh, God, that line made me laugh so much. And then, the kid eventually freaks out and opens the door, and Alfred realizes he's just been talking to his brother. He's not been talking to his Dicky.
What a fool.
But, mate, that scene, it was really funny. I've had a real good laugh watching that scene. So Alfred goes back to the rapist Yao Man. He needs some more dick communication tips. And Yao Man gives him the advice that he needs to treat his dick more kindly. He shouldn't just take it out for fun when he meets a girl or when he wanks off. So, yeah, he's got to respect his Dicky more. That's the key thing that he needs to think about. Then we get a little tangent. We go back to the police station, and Elaine, she says that someone has stolen all of the underwear from the evidence locker. and she's sort of looking suspiciously at Alfred and Michael. Michael comes in and he takes his pants down to reveal his underpants and starts saying that they're Calvin Klein, but he pronounces it wrong.
Yeah.
It's really funny.
Calvin Klein.
Cut back to Alfred once again trying to talk to his Dicky. This time, what's he wearing?
Oh, so he's in a tux. He's on a full-on tux.
I love the reveal.
He's trying to romanticize his penis.
Yeah, he's romancing his dick. Yeah, he's in a tux, but then it pulls out and he's got no pants on.
Yeah, and he's got this little like mirror attached to his waist.
That's right. Yeah,
he's like got protruding out and pointing down to his.
He doesn't have it attached
penis.
yet. That's his next stage. That's
Right.
when he's just got it in front of him.
Right.
But yeah, he's like got a mirror looking lovingly at his crotch in this tuxedo. And yeah, he starts talking nicely to his dick, and he's apologizing for all the bad things that he's done to the dick, and he tells it about the rapist. He offers to give it a haircut. He's like, you can have a haircut. Then we cut to the full moon.
That's it. He falls asleep. The wind starts howling. The roses flutter, and then
What does he hear?
brother.
So finally, his Dicky can talk to him. Fuck, this film is insane. So he starts having a chat with his dick.
I love it. It's like friends reuniting.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how have you been? What's news? Do you still see that girl? You know, like catching up over like a glass of wine or something.
Oh.
In this moment, he says one of the funniest things. The dick says, "How's mum and dad?" Alfred says, "Fine. Do you want to say hello?" And he's like, "No. I don't want to scare them."
There's so much like good like dick banter in this scene,
Yeah.
right? It's like kind of a deep D&M, like deep and meaningful dick chat. But I love the dick is just sort of like sharing his complaints. He's like, your happiness is built on my pain. And he's complaining about wearing rubbers and suffocating jeans. And he's like, you love dirty places. The dirtier the place, the more excited you are. And the dick's like, you made me cry a few times.
Oh yeah.
And then Alfred's like, I thought they were wet dreams, but you were crying. That was Dicky's tears.
Oh man.
Oh, fuck. And then Dicky starts talking about... This is my favorite thing in the film. He starts talking about how sad Michael's dick is. To the cop finder.
Yeah.
And Michael's dick's name is Larry.
Right.
As well. I don't know why his name
idea
gets
about that.
a special name. But he's like, oh, mate, his dick's a mess. It's not working anymore.
No. And then we cut to him, and holy fuck, this was not expected.
Yeah.
So we cut over to Michael, and he's dancing around in a Native American getup. And he's like banging a drum and chanting and dancing, and it's great because you got, I think, his kid and his wife, and just like looking really sadly at him, just like, oh, what's happened?
Yeah, what's he done? But yeah, he's whispering to his dick, and then he gets really angry, and he's like, I'm gonna beat you if you don't talk. And then finally we hear this like really pathetic voice.
大哥，哎呦，别打！谁呀？啊，我是你小弟。我小弟。
Don't.
A decrepit old dick.
I love Michael's like, why do you sound like granddad? He's got an old man dick because his dick's a shambles from all that three penises. wide. Oh god. So now both their dicks can talk, but Michael's dick's a bit of a mess. So Michael goes over to see Alfred, and we get something that we see a lot of in this film, which is two men facing each other, crotches pointed at each other while their dicks talk.
Yeah.
So imagine that, two guys just standing there silently as voiceover dicks talk.
That's probably one thing to mention. We don't actually see dicks talking.
No, you just hear the voice.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Alfred's dick helps Michael's dick lift its spirits a bit. So Michael's dick wants all the beatings to stop. Yeah, Alfred says, like, to Michael, you've got to encourage your dick more. You got to encourage it.
Oh, he's like, imagine things like rockets and tunnels and anything that can fly.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna go. And he rushes back home, and he like drags his wife into the bedroom. He's like, come on, we need to talk in the bedroom. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
And he shags her so good that her eyebrows turn upside down.
This is... That really cracked me up. That fucking made me cry with laughter. And he's like... Because we don't see the shag, and we don't really see her for all. We just see him looking really happy after their shag. And he's like, honey, your eyebrows are bent down. Always bent down. Why are they turned up? And we just cut to her, and her eyebrows look fucking ridiculous. Like, pointed straight up. And she's like, I'm so happy my eyebrows are up. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But that happens later on as well with his hair, doesn't it?
Yeah. There's a lot of real goofball gags.
It's like very silly.
So then we see what Alfred's up to. So he's now got a mirror attached to his dick, like this sort of rod poking out with a mirror so he can properly talk to his dick. His girlfriend comes over to the house and sees him with this mirror attached to his dick, and there's a voiceover of just like, I'm glad I decided to leave him, which I thought was really funny, just a little voiceover. And yeah, she gives him a letter. Alfred's Dicky says that he can smell another man on her. She's betrayed him. And he reads the letter. Sorry, this is going to get a little bit confusing now, but she's left him for another man called Michael. So there's a second Michael in this. Let's refer to him as Hunk Michael, because he is a hunk.
He's a hunk.
So regular Michael, the other cop, and we've got Hunk Michael. So Alfred, in another sort of mad tangent that this film goes on, goes to meet this Hunk Michael that has been shagging his girlfriend. And
apparently they were mates from way back.
They're like friends from school. And this guy, Hunk Michael, he's played by Michael Chow Man Kin.
Okay.
And this guy is a prolific actor in so many things, including Alfred Cheung's film that I mentioned before, Her Fatal Ways, which he has quite a big role in. So yeah, he shows up in a lot of stuff. But yeah, basically they're meeting at this cafe. They have this kind of back and forth about the girlfriend. Hunk Michael's a real smug, arrogant guy. He's bragging about how much better he is than Alfred.
I did like in this scene, Alfred comes in wearing sunglasses, and I was like, why wearing sunglasses? Take them off. And he takes one, he's got another pair of sunglasses. He's like, why wearing two sunglasses? And he goes, I cried 2 times last night. But yeah, he's just a cunt.
Yeah, he's a cunt. So then their dicks start chatting. And Alfred's dick says that Hunk Michael's dick is weak. And the dicks start sort of threatening each other. Yeah, Alfred goes to kick him in the dick, but then stops. Then he flicks a rubber band into the dick and all this sort of stuff. They all sort of seem to sort it out. Like Alfred's like, okay, all right. No. You know, take my girlfriend, whatever. And he's brought a basket of fruit for Hunk Michael's mum, because they're like childhood friends, right? He's like, please give this to your mum. But then under the table, he's got a spiky durian.
Have you ever had durian before?
I have. It smells bad, but delicious.
Does it taste good?
It's pretty good. I wouldn't, maybe not delicious. It's pretty good. But yeah, he's got this spiky durian under the table, and Hunk Michael's dick is fucking terrified at the sight of this. And from the fear of this durian plant, Alfred's Dicky says, yeah, that Hunk Michael's dick, he's not going to be able to make love for 3 years because of that. So they leave knowing that they've fully emasculated Hunk Michael.
Man. Threatening him with durian.
Yeah, it's fucking bonkers. Then we get another very
the scene as well. It's completely just unnecessary.
I'll maybe go through this pretty quickly, but basically, yeah, Michael and Alfred meet up. They're really happy about their ability to talk to their dicks. And they're like, oh, there was this other cop that got crippled in this like robbery case. Why don't we go talk to his dick to try and work out like what happened? So they go and visit this guy, and he's just like crippled, can't talk. And their dicks have a chat with him, and they find out that his partner, another cop, was the one that shot him and paralyzed him. Also, one funny bit here, though, with the granny.
Yeah, that is quite funny.
So it's like at this like old folks' home that they're talking to this paralyzed guy. And then the paralyzed guy's dick is like, oh yeah, could you tell that granny over there to stop touching me at night?
just going to jerk him up at night.
Yeah.
And they go and tell her, and she just doesn't say anything.
Yeah, and Michael threatens to chop her hands off. It's pretty intense. Yeah, then we cut to, again, part of this like tangent that has nothing to do with anything. These triad guys are holding up the crooked partner that shot this paralyzed cop. Is it even worth talking about this?
I didn't hate the scenes. Like, they were fine, but I didn't really spend too much time on them.
Basically, they come in, the dicks are all talking to each other, there's a gun battle, blah, 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 blah. And through dick communication, they manage to save the day, arrest the criminals. And it was quite funny, though. The corrupt cop just gets, like, blown to smithereens in this scene.
Yeah. And I like the way that one of the criminals... Dicky's name was Dick.
One was Dick and one was Penn.
Penn. The cops' dicks were like, "What are your names?" And he's like, "I'm Dick."
But it's a scene that has kind of nothing to do with anything.
It does like these weird like tangent scenes do derail the film to some extent, but it finds its feet again after this scene. Yeah.
From this point on, it's kind of refocuses itself.
This is where the cops, Alfred and Michael, then start to teach all the officers on the force how to talk to their dick.
Oh my god, this is amazing, this scene. So all the cops are in this meeting room. They all have roses on the table, so you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And they're all like hooked up to that electroshock therapy.
Dude. And some of their questions are so funny. So one cop is like, "If my dick is very small, can it hear me?"
Yeah.
And another guy, like this big guy, is like, "If my dicky is strong, is its voice low?"
Yeah.
Like, why are they asking? And like Alfred's getting them to repeat all this like dick propaganda, I guess you could call it. It's like,
no, that's right, because they all start singing a song together after this, and it sounds like a propaganda song.
But it's not them singing the song.
The dicks.
It's their dicks.
Yeah.
So like they've gotten to the point where their dicks can talk, and yet their dicks are singing. They're all singing.
But it sounds like a recruitment song.
Yeah, it's like it's like very like militaristic.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are like, "Your dicky was like the moon," or some bonkers stuff like that.
The dick is like the moon.
But now all the cops can talk to their dicks. They got it made. So now they can all go out to investigate the case. So basically we cut to all the cops who are now out and about interrogating other dicks.
Just loose on the street.
Talking dicks loose on the street.
And we get this awesome montage of them just going out questioning people. And again, we get that Chinese rap.
Yeah.
With that, like, and there's this really funny scene of this. They got like 4 cops, and I think they have maybe have criminals up against the wall, or people up against the wall or something. And there's this scene of them in a line, and they're just thrusting against these people, and they're just saying, "Tell me, speak," as they thrust.
Oh, it's really ridiculous stuff. This also has one of my favorite moments as well. Like during this, interrogation montage, we cut to Michael in a urinal.
God, who the fuck was this dude?
So funny.
I love it. There's always a random white guy in a Hong Kong film.
Oh god, the interaction here is so funny. Yeah, white guy comes in and they're pissing next to each other, and the dicks start talking in kind of broken English.
Yeah.
And Michael's dick is like, "Oh, very, very big."
Yeah.
And then
he says, "Oh, can't say the same for you."
Yeah. My favorite bit here is like this white guy's dick is like rambling about things it's done, and it's like and it's clearly like in Suburb Murder, it's not an native English speaker. So at one point his dick is like, "I had a nice boozy."
That's it. He goes, "Boozy."
It's like some European guy.
I had a nice boozy, but I'm not telling you about it.
Oh god.
Hello.
Hi.
Wow, very big.
Can't say the same for you.
Did you fuck yesterday?
I did have a nice pushy, but I'm not going to tell you about it. Why don't you just go to hell?
幸亏没尿到我呀。
As they're talking, like Michael yawns, and the white guy's dick blasts a bit of piss.
Did that actually happen?
Yeah, that
Seriously?
happened. And do you know something weird?
How does that happen?
So he blasts a bit of piss and it flies into Michael's mouth.
Like, I didn't catch that. I was watching it, and Michael starts, like, freaking out, saying, "You pissed in my mouth!" And I was like, wait, What?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah, it's just like, I guess it's like a little droplet.
How?
But you know something funny though? That Paper Marriage film I mentioned before with Sammo Hung and Maggie Cheung, that also has a bit where Sammo Hung's doing a piss and splashes a bit on Maggie Cheung. So maybe it's like Alfred Cheung's kind of into people getting splashed with piss.
Is that his thing?
Could be.
Jesus.
I also love as well, after this, there's a bit of Alfred walking around a restaurant and you hear all the dicks just talking to each other and they're like, they all know each other.
Yeah.
Like, hey Richard, how you doing?
Yeah. And they're trying to find the culprit, right? The rapist. They're just like dicks talking to dicks. And there's this great scene, Alfred, he's trying to talk to another guy's dick and he keeps scratching himself. He keeps scratching himself and the dick keeps laughing and he can't get any words out because he keeps laughing. And Alfred goes, "Hey, I'm police. Stop scratching your dick."
Then we meet the culprit in the most unceremonious, nonchalant manner.
We're just introduced to the rapist.
Yeah, so the rapist, Lung is his name.
Right.
He just shows up and he's like standing next to this fat guy. His dick, Lung's dick, says, "Oh, this fatty has slept with Helen." Now, we don't know who Helen is yet, but it's pretty clear that this guy is the rapist straight away. But it's just so like, oh, here you go. Here's the rapist.
It was such, like, they didn't make a point of it at all that I was thinking, wait, had we been introduced to this person before? Was he one of the workers in the office? But I didn't recognize him. But again, it was like we were supposed to know who he is. It was just one of the people maybe on the same task or maybe in the office, but it was just a random guy in a suit.
It's very, it's just out of nowhere. But yeah, we know that he has some kind of connection to someone called Helen. There you go. So then back to that investigation, all the dicks talking to each other again. There's an amazing moment where they're going into the lift so they can be close to other dicks. And Alfred's dick tells him that the guy next to him has AIDS. And then Alfred freaks out and punches the man.
He goes to sneeze. The AIDS guy goes to sneeze, and Alfred's just like fuck, and he just like punches him in the face.
What a reaction! Oh my god! And then the dick's like, "Oh, that was actually a mistake." He had
a skin issue.
Yeah. Oh god! But anyway, Michael and Alfred they meet up. Michael says his dick is thirsty from talking so much, but they basically. With sharing all the information that they have, they've talked to a bunch of dicks that have made love with a bitchy woman. Again, I think they mean slutty. And they think that there must be a connection between this bitchy woman and the rapist.
They come to some mad conclusion that is like, this bitch has fucked every man. And if I was that that bitch's husband, then they would want revenge or something, or the partner would want revenge, something. It was like this ridiculous, like, broken reverse rape revenge thing.
Very confusing stuff. But then they're in the lift again, and again, all the dicks are talking about this bitch. And again, we're saying bitch a lot because that's what the subtitles say. Then the bitch enters. And it is Helen that we heard the rapist mention before, played by Maria Tung Ling. Okay. She's not in much I'd seen, but she is in the film Casino Tycoon. Okay. Which is directed by Wang Jing, who we briefly mentioned before. But yeah, apparently she slept with a whole lot of guys in this building. So Alfred starts to follow her, and his dick keeps saying, "I can feel a breath behind us." So like someone else is stalking behind. And then we go back to Lung, this rapist that we've just been randomly introduced to.
He's like raging at his dick.
Raging at his dick. Because the dick's like, "I love Helen." And he's like, "I love her too." And they're having this rant about all the people that have slept with Helen. And he is furious about this whole situation.
I mean, they don't really give any reasons as to why we should like Helen From, I mean, yeah, she's hot, sure, but we don't know anything about her. All we know is she's a slut, right?
Yeah, that's all we've heard.
But he's like, God damn it, I love her so much.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rape every wife of the man who slept with her.
Yeah, that's his deal.
Some crazy logic right there.
Very confusing stuff.
So, don't they now set up like a listening operation? So, Alfred and Michael have somehow gained access to the room next to where she lives and are listening into all her sex operations, which is a huge invasion of privacy.
Yeah, it's quite fucked, isn't it?
It's insane. And fucking Michael's loving it.
Yeah.
He's over the moon.
He's a real perversoid. And they realize that all these guys that are coming, a lot of them have connections to the rape victims as well. So then they go even further.
They break in.
Into this invasion of privacy. Yeah, they break into her place.
No warrant.
Yeah. They just start searching around. They find a bunch of condoms.
Oh, I love this. He says, so much rubber. This goes against environmental protection.
I thought you were going to say the bit where the dick's like, oh, I hate wearing condoms. It's like wearing a raincoat to practice kung fu.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they're searching around. They open a cupboard. And who's in there? Only bloody Helen.
Helen the bitch.
Helen the bitch. So she's like, oh, I thought someone was breaking in. Which,
you would.
I mean, they were breaking in. She's not wrong.
Police.
Yeah, but they are the police.
I would call the police on the police. You can't just break into someone's house.
You can in Hong Kong.
Can you imagine? They're like, oh, well, we were listening to you having sex with all these men. Like,
yeah. Oh, okay, well, that's all right.
That's all right. Well, you are the police.
Yeah.
Seems perfectly logical. Why?
So then they start grilling Helen, and they're asking about her boyfriends, and she's like, I don't have any boyfriends, just men I sleep with. And yeah, Alfred asks her, do you have a secret admirer, like someone who might be obsessed with you that's responsible for these rapes? All the while he's asking this, Michael is just like...
He's giddy like a schoolgirl,
smitten with her. And Helen brings out this photo album of all the guys she's fucked. And I do love this bit because they're like, oh, these are all the guys you fucked. And she's like, oh yeah, just from this building. It's like an album of just the ones from the building. And she needs 2 men a day or she's not satisfied. And, you know, she's like, sometimes they might have a wife. Too bad. I gotta get my satisfaction. Yeah, as she's talking about sex, we have that bit you mentioned before where Michael's hair just starts like sticking up. Like he's like, whoa.
Doesn't she say like she needs to have sex at least 2 times a day? And just talking about sex nonstop. That Michael's hair just starts to erect. Yeah. And Alfred's like, what's wrong with your hair? And he's just like, ooh, like really like sheepishly trying to flatten it down again.
Oh, so silly.
Like a teenager with his first boner.
But yeah, they set up the plan, which is basically Michael is going to stay there and pretend to be her boyfriend. And Elaine, the female cop, is going to pretend to be his wife in hopes that they can, attract the rapist. And they say like, please put on a good act. Yeah, please play it up. But then Dicky warns Alfred of a strange sound outside. And he goes out to check the corridor, and we see Lung, the rapist, hiding around the corner, out of view, but just drenched in sweat. And his dick is like, come on, go in there, get Helen, sort of thing. And he's like, no, I can't. And then Alfred tries to go back in, but the door is locked. So in a panic, he thinks like the rapist has broken in, and gets the door open, walks in. What's Michael doing?
Finds bloody Michael with his pants down.
Pants down immediately, getting involved straight away. He's really gone for like 2 seconds.
Right? In the middle of a police investigation.
So they put their plan into place. So we've got Michael pretending to be Helen's boyfriend with Lung watching this happen. And Michael is also with Elaine, who's pretending to be his wife. We also get a random piece of plot here where Alfred's Dicky is like, oh, by the way, I won't be able to speak to you anymore in the new year.
Oh, you know what? That went completely over my head.
Yeah, it's just a weird detail that comes back at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole time while this plan's going, Lung is getting, following them around and is starting to target Elaine. So then we have Elaine at the building pretending to work there. Lung comes over to her, invites her to a party that
it's a company party.
Yeah, company party. Yeah. So I guess he's part of a business.
So he does work in the building.
I guess he must, yeah. We don't really get any of that detail, right?
No.
So then we cut to the party. Lung, the rapist, is drugging the punch, or like spiking the punch, I guess. With alcohol, I guess, or something stronger, because it really fucks everyone.
Yeah, I love it. It's like party, right? So it's like it's a full-on party. Everyone's like nicely dressed. There's music, there's punch, and the music is, of course, that Chinese rap song again.
They're all listening to that.
Yeah, it's that same song, and I love it. They're listening to that song at the party. It's great. And then Helen the bitch enters, but suddenly Michael and Alfred can't hear their dicks anymore, so they can't talk to them, and they're just like, "Oh fuck, are we too drunk? The wine was pretty strong," but then all of a sudden people start passing out, and fucking Alfred passes out with a sandwich in his mouth, like half eating a sandwich with his foot in Michael's dick, and he's just like passed out with this like extremely like intense look of pain on his face. But the only person who's not passed out yet is
Elaine.
Yeah. So she's the undercover cop, right?
Yeah.
So she's still semi-conscious, and the rapist kind of sees her. A kind of cat and mouse chase scene ensues. She has a kind of wobbly runaway down the hall throughout into the office building. Now, she's screaming bloody murder. And he kind of like pops up from behind corners. She's like, ah! And I was like, hang on, wait. You're a cop, right? I was like, your role here is to catch this guy. Yeah, why the fuck are you running away and screaming whenever you see him?
It's quite a change in character as well, because she was like very competent before that.
But that's why I was like, I kept like looking at her, I was like, wait, is it her? Because she's so like glammed up with her dress and the earrings and the hair. I was like, is her? I couldn't quite tell, but if it's her, is her.
Yeah.
I was like, why the fuck are you not just arresting him? That's what you're here for. Why are you running away and screaming?
Yeah, that is a good point. It's not the best writing in that scene.
No.
So Alfred and Michael are still unconscious, but their dicks are still awake. And their dicks are like, all right, we gotta wake them up by squeezing ourselves. We don't really have any explanation of what that means, but Michael's dick is apparently too small to be squeezed. So Alfred wakes up from the squeeze. Michael's still unconscious.
From the squeeze.
From whatever the squeeze might be. And he finds Elaine, who's being held at knife point by Lung, the rapist. And he comes in and shoots the blade out of Lung's hand.
I really like this shootout.
Yeah, it's really good. Actually,
it's so well done.
Alfred Cheung is really good at shooting action. So that On the Run film, great fucking action in it. And yeah, all of his other films have really good action, even in the comedies as well.
This film is like, I mean, it's a silly comedy at heart, but in the small scenes where there are these like action sequences, they're always really well shot. And this one especially, I watched it twice, and both times I was like, fuck, it's a very short scene, but this scene is just so well done. Yeah. It's a very long, narrow corridor, and they're very erratically shooting at each other and kind of like stumbling around trying to avoid bullets as they are ricocheting off the walls either side of them. But it's so beautifully done.
It gets even cooler as well. Like all the lights go off at a certain point, but they're still having to shoot out with just these like flashes of light.
Well, that's from here, isn't it? It's like a completely dark. It's almost like a back room.
It's really cool. But the lights come back on, and they both turn to shoot each other. But Lung, the rapist, is out of bullets, and Alfred shoots him in the head.
Just turns around, bam,
headshot
right in the fucking head.
Done.
He's done.
That's another thing that I think Alfred Cheung really likes, because that On the Run film, there's a character in it that just every time she shoots someone, it's perfectly through the forehead. It's like her character trait.
Nice.
Oh, what a great film. Gotta watch that. Yeah, so Alfred thanks Dicky for all the help, but Dicky can't hear him anymore. And here we get a fucking
what is this?
Very confusing scene. So Dicky can't hear him anymore, and his voice drifts off.
It's like Dicky's soul leaves Alfred's body.
Dicky's soul leaves Dicky. I guess, because he's still got his dick, right? And the dick seems to be like somewhere else in the room. And then the dick is like, I'm in a cage. I'm inside a bird. And there's like a fucking cage.
Why is there a bird? Yeah. What's that?
I don't.
They're in like.
know.
It looks
It's like a warehouse.
It does look like a fucking a floor that's not been developed yet. Like just like an empty office space, and there's just a bird in a cage there that now has the soul of a dick inside of it.
But yeah, like it's just baffling. Like, so the dick is now a bird, and it says
The dick is now a bird.
and the dick bird says like, "Oh, don't worry, we'll speak again in 10 years." And then Dick Bird.
Were they trying to go for like a Twin Peaks thing? Like a sequel 10 years later.
And then, the Dick Bird is like, "Oh, open up the cage and let me go free." And he does, and the bird fucking flies off.
Yeah.
And then there's a real missed opportunity here because Elaine is like, "Hey guys, not only dicks talk." And I'm like, "Oh, we're going to hear her bits talking?" Yeah. But then they just leave it. It's just a throwaway line. So the rapist is dead. We cut back to the police station, and the police chief is getting taken away for stealing underwear.
That's it. The fucking chief was stealing the pants.
They all have a little laugh together, and they all just walk down the street. The three cops. We got Alfred, Michael, Elaine having a great old time, and guess what we hear again? And that is Talk to Me, Dicky. Do you know what, this film, first time I watched it, I'm like, is it not fucked enough for the podcast? But it's pretty great.
I think it's very appropriate for the podcast.
And it's so outrageous. Like, what
really is.
What a ridiculous film. And just like hearing myself say his dick turns into a bird. Yeah, the dick that is now a bird.
I always think fucking hell, like you try to solve a rapist by hiring a rapist to then teach you how to talk to your dick. Like, who the fuck thought of that? That's madness.
Alfred Cheung. It's Alfred Cheung.
The activist.
Yeah. Oh my god, the man who was there for Tiananmen Square made Talk to Me, Dicky. Wow.
You know what? Yeah, we spoke about it before I watched it, and you're like, it's all right. It's a comedy, but it kind of falls flat at sometimes. I think it was what you said. So I was going into it not really expecting to laugh. I was expecting the jokes to not really be very funny and just to kind of have like maybe a small smirk here and there. But there were certain points where I did laugh quite hard.
Yeah. I think it's really, when it's funny, it's really funny. It's unfortunate that it's got a couple of long tangents that drag it down a bit.
Yeah,
I guess
and especially like the tangents that were so confusing that they didn't really introduce anything to the story, and there was no payoff to them. They were just like random scenes.
And what's frustrating about that is like it could have used more time establishing who the rapist is, right?
Yeah.
Because he appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there's elements where it's like, why you maybe should have spent a bit more time on this and less on this random tangent about a corrupt cop.
Because we're just shown the rapist.
Yeah, so he's just there.
And it's like, it's not even as we're approaching the finale. It's like bang in the middle of their investigation.
It's really weird.
Like they haven't got anything. They haven't even like come to the conclusion that it might be like a rape revenge thing. And I don't think it was around the same time we met Helen the bitch, right?
Yeah.
So
they're introduced very quickly. Like,
so it was just like before they had got any information about anyone. They're like, oh yeah, here's the rapist, by the way.
Yeah.
And he loves someone called Helen. It's like, well, wait, who the fuck is Helen? We don't know who that is. Yeah, so
very
the pacing and the way people were introduced was very off. However, the dick jokes were funny.
I think the good outweighs the bad, but
definitely.
Yeah, it's a really enjoyable film. It's just a little, maybe like first watch, I was a little frustrated because I'm like, if it was a bit tighter, and if it was a Cat 3, like holy shit, what could have this been as a Cat 3? But it's still just like the plot itself is so mad, like it's hard to believe that this exists.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just reading the plot synopsis alone is like, sorry, can you say that again? Like, what was that? Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're 100% on point with that. I mean, we were introduced to 3 rape scenes at the very beginning of the film.
Yeah. So
I was a bit like, whoa, like that's pretty full on, and the blood dripping out like from the rape victim in the office. I was like, oh, this is grim. But it ended there, right? So I think that if it had carried on in that way, it would have been quite an easy Cat 3. But it was really just the first like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Not to say that that's a bad thing.
But yeah, it's what an odd film.
Oh yeah, it was great. Loved it.
How about the wrong-ometer for this? So how wrong the film is, how fucked up it is, how much it shouldn't exist.
Well, I mean, it's not visually that fucked up. It's a comedy, but housed in a fucking rape story.
Yeah.
So, I mean, visually, there's no fucked up stuff here, really.
This is all plot fucked up stuff. It's about cops teaching themselves to talk to their dicks through a Silence of the Lambs-esque rapist telling them how to do it. It's
for me, I'm giving it a 7.
I think I was also thinking a 7 as well. Because, yeah, you're right. It's like, it's not that fucked up, but just purely...
Yeah. The concept
alone, you have to give it a 7. Because there is nothing as...
It's insane. I don't know any other film like this.
Do you know what? I'm going to bump it up to an 8.
I think 8 is perfectly applicable here, yeah.
But yeah, what a film.
What a film. I'm glad I watched it. Because I looked at the poster as well. I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
I suppose I was like, I'm not watching this. It's good. I really enjoyed it. So that concludes episode 49.
Yeah. Normally, you would then announce the next film, but things are going to be a little bit different next time.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll have a Q&A mini.
Okay.
So that'll be next week.
Yeah.
Connected to our 50th episode, which is going to be a bit different. So what are we doing on the 50th? It's not one film.
It's 2, but not in our usual approach.
Yeah.
This will be more of just a general discussion, I believe.
Yeah, we're not going to go into the same plot detail that we normally do.
But the reason we are doing these 2 films as our 50th episode is because these 2 films were the main instigators in starting this podcast. So, next week, we will be talking about 2 Japanese films. The first one, which is more widely known and now very easily available thanks to its recent restoration and release through Third Window Films, Door by Banmei Takahashi. Fucking great film.
Amazing film.
And
we'll also be talking about Sabaku from 2000. It's a gay pinku. So that'll be an interesting one. Our first gay pinku as well. Okay, there you go. And directed by Casino.
Yeah.
But we'll maybe talk more about that next time as well.
Yeah.
And also, after we do that 50th, we will be taking a break from the pod. We'll talk about that more in the 50th, but we're not ending it, but there will be a break. So for next time, you'll have to watch 2 films, Door and Sabaku.
They're both good.
Yeah, it's actually one where they're both good.
Just watch them. They're good.
So do head over to our Instagram. As usual, Show Me Something Wrong on Instagram. You can send us an email at showmesomethingwrong@gmail.com. But yeah, do join us next week for the Q&A, and then in 2 weeks' time for the 50th episode. Should we end with the dooba-doop song?
Yes, I think we have to. Yes. Play it out.
Did you fuck yesterday?
I did have a nice pushy, but I'm not going to tell you about it. Why don't you just go to hell?